I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right. There you go. Yeah. I was saying, I see you rubbed yours in, but I brought my Steelers
Yeah.
hat along, so it's okay. It's all right. But
Even Steven.
well, I don't know. After about 10 minutes of the third quarter, I kind of felt more like it was a crime scene. But
Yeah, it got bad. It really did. It was almost after I texted you that it's not over yet, and then
yes, yeah, it was over.
it was over.
Yeah, yeah, the fat lady was tuning up.
Yep, yeah, pretty much.
So but congratulations, and I'm still a little pissed about us dropping all the way down to five,
Yeah.
but as we had talked about, you know, all season, it, it, wa- I think it came down to not only the lure of the new kid on the block, but also, I mean, it what USC and UCLA will be in the Big Ten next year anyway. So
Right.
you know, but uh, what were your thoughts on the new rankings that came out?
Yeah, I didn't think it was fair either. I mean, we talked about it for a few weeks, and I I thought maybe if Michigan lost, being at 3, they might drop down to 5, but I was like, I don't know about that either, because we're talking about a 2 and a 3 playing each other, but for Ohio State to go from 2 to 5, I'm like, no, that's way too hard. So I don't think it's fair. I really don't.
Well, like I said, it's kind of a uh, everyone. I mean, as the season came down, you heard more and more people start talking about USC. Uh, I think they started out at what, number 15, something like that.
Yeah, around
You
there.
know, so but after tonight and tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of one-loss teams around there.
Hmm.
So hey, I, I guess, and the one thing that that I guess will be surprising to everyone is that there'll be no Alabama this year. So I
Yeah,
guess
that is surprising. Yeah, it's
you
really
know,
surprising.
yeah. So yeah. Um, but let's talk a little college football here before we get on our main topics. And of course, uh, let me see, where am I here? Okay. Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about uh, some of these coaching changes, and we had mentioned a few, but some are kind of surprising. Rule to Nebraska, Freeze to Auburn. Now, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a big scandal about Freeze and all the stuff that his players or the program went through when he, uh,
Yeah,
at his previous job? But
yeah,
anyway, he's at Auburn. Deion says that Colorado called, but I think Deion's waiting for a little bigger fish to fry. I don't think we have to worry about him going to Colorado. And Fuller went to Wisconsin. What are your thoughts on some of those hirings?
yeah. You were right about Freeze. He's had some sexual assault situations and other problems, but as far as recruiting, does a great job. Matt Rule is an interesting one too, just because he flamed out in Carolina with the Panthers, but he's got like
Oh,
3 years left on his
he
deal.
had some very interesting words. Worst decision I ever made. I mean, he went all in. He's like, yeah. I went into the pig pen. I just, I mean, yeah. I think if you would, that's his nightmare now. Just receiving a contract, or a letterhead with an NFL name across the top. Yeah.
He's getting paid though. He's still getting paid for
Oh
another
yeah,
2 or 3 years. He's making
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. He
tons of
didn't
money.
say he didn't say anything about the financial part.
Yeah, I bet he was real quiet about that.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about that.
But he did a good job rebuilding teams. Baylor was one that he put back on the map. And then I forget the other school he was with, that sort of got him the job at Baylor, and uh, was so much of a rebuilding success in college. Couldn't do it in the pros, but did it in college. So it's not too surprising. I just didn't think he'd jump right back into it. I thought he'd at least take a year off, but he wants to coach, so yeah, go for it. Nebraska is in needing of a rebuild, so maybe a perfect match for him.
Well, see, and I was we were talking about Nebraska. And I mean, it's not like they're ever going to go back to the Tom Osborne days.
Right.
I mean, so he doesn't really have to worry about that pressure. And I mean, let's face it. The 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 corn and the agricultural market is kind of dried up, and oil money is prevalent. So,
Hmm.
hey, but as far as a good job. Sure. And it's a job that if he just has, to make analogies, if he can just do like Tomlin and not have a losing record, he could stay there for quite some time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, and maybe that's what makes him happy. I mean, as you mentioned with the pros, maybe it's just not for him. And the college success is been there for him, and if he's happy with Nebraska and they do well, then even better.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, he's got a supplemental check sitting back there in the bank that no matter
Exactly.
what Nebraska pays him,
Don't
he's not.
matter.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't see him in bankruptcy court anytime
No,
soon.
no, not for a while,
Yeah.
unless he just is a fool about his money. But yeah, I mean, that shouldn't be not a problem.
Now, Freeze. Let's talk about him for a minute. With the current climate being what it is, I'm referring to feminism,
Hmm.
Roe v. Wade, the whole political thing here,
Okay.
uh, and not just but just basic rights for women, on campus. Are you surprised that he's still at such a high profile school as Auburn, or do you think that maybe he got that talk before they signed this contract?
Yeah, I'm sure there was some mentioning about him and those situations, and it's. I mean, I would be like, "Where's your mind at? Explain to me these things and tell me about why we should hire you, based on what happened with you in these situations." And depending on the answer, it's either going to be, which I guess they said okay, or they don't even care, and they just want to say, Hugh Freeze, we can't get Lane Kiffin, so we're going to get you, and we're going to win, and we don't care because winning is money, and whatever else that was in the past, and just don't do it again. Who knows about these college ads and stuff like that. Some are just as dirty as the coach is.
Well, when I think about some of the things that went on at Ohio State under Jim Jordan, that's a different conversation. I'll leave that alone for now. so, did you see Fuller going to Wisconsin?
No, I didn't. That was another one that was sort of interesting as well. He's done some good things, but for him to jump to a Big Ten school is really, I guess, really good for him. So yeah, I
It's
did not
like that
expect that.
giant leap for mankind.
Right, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that, but whatever he said sure worked.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe he should have a talk with Eric Bieniemy, but that's another conversation. Yeah, something about that interviewing process there.
Yeah, or some other reason that is pretty prevalent.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I mean, is it like the teachers in the room? Well, hey, I tell you what you do. I got a guy that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, he fits all the criteria, but he sucks as an interview. So I mean, I'm just saying. I just think it has to be a little deeper than that because I mean,
Well,
not.
it has to be because, like, I mean, if I know a guy's great at his job and he can't interview, I don't care. After a while, it's just like I don't care. I want my team to win. So whether he's good at an interview does has nothing to do with the way they can put on the football field or how they
Well,
perform on the football field.
I think that there's also a little there's that version of the stick and carrot going on there like as long as we're going to give you this job, but right now we got a guy here, but we're going to give you the job, just
Yeah, just hang in there. Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Another 15 years goes by and it's still, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we'll get it to you. We sure will someday. Yeah. Whatever.
uh so after your Wolverines feasted on my Buckeyes as McCartney outdueled CJ in a must-win game, did CJ's performance cost him the Heisman?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I know he's in the running. He'll remain in the running, but yeah, when you don't win, it makes it that much more difficult. And I don't know his stat line, but it wasn't overly impressive to me, anyways. So I want to say yes, but it's
Well,
hard to say yes
did
when he's
they
still in the
cross
running.
midfield after 10 minutes of the third quarter?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't remember, but yeah, they sure that offense, that fantastic offense, was not there. They disappeared.
I mean, we had questions about the defense, and we had seen, where they came up lacking. That I mean, there was no that go-to guy there that has been for the past few years. So but like I said, after you know, after about 10 minutes of the third quarter, it was more like a mud hole. But anyway, uh,
Yeah, it got well. Those back-to-back runs really hurt them.
yeah, yeah. Um, Speaking of quarterbacks, USC quarterback Caleb Williams, he led his Trojans 9-1 past UCLA, and the college football playoff ratings moves USC to number 4, as I said, and drops Ohio State to number 5. And the question was. Two-part. First of all, did you agree with I mean, uh, the way the rankings fell? Because as I said, there's going to be a lot of one-loss teams
Hmm.
after Saturday, and Uh, do you think that his performance makes speaking of Caleb Williams, makes him the new Heisman favorite? Considering that uh, the guy that we thought was going to have a major part, the former Bolitnikoff winner, we thought he was going to be a back-to-back Bolitnikoff winner, but he went down. Do you think that right now it's Caleb Williams Heisman to lose?
I think right now, yes. He's a guy that I have winning the Heisman. So we'll see. But um, yeah, he's taken them farther than the last time I can remember. What was it, Reggie Bush era? The last time USC was even prevalent. So that was oof, 90, what, 96, 97, something that to that effect. So it's been a long time since USC's been anywhere near a championship caliber team. Yeah, I agree.
Wow. Trivia question: who won the last national championship or Super Bowl? USC or the Cowboys?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's been
I want
25. It's been at least 25 years for the Cowboys.
right. I think Well, it was against Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Right.
Uh, that was 90. I want to say it's been. I think USC was after Dallas.
Either way, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's
Yeah,
been a
it's
long
been a long
time.
time.
Uh, uh, okay, let's talk about my favorite guy here, uh, Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron got hurt last week, and Jordan had to come in and play for him. But rumor has it that Aaron he'll be starting again this Sunday. And uh, is it time for the Packers to maybe give the ball to Jordan for the rest of the season? I mean, they're they're 5 games back. What in the win column against Minnesota? I mean, they'd have to win every game out, and Minnesota would have to lose every game out.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so, well, hey, stranger. Well, but
Yeah, yeah,
anyway, but but anyway, just thinking logically, I mean, do you think it's time for him to say, well, I mean, he's been kind of pushing. Well, I don't know, maybe me and Blue will go and smoke some whatever it is, and hey, like I said, any, you know, just me, but you go from Dana Patrick to anyway. Another conversation, another day. But I mean, but maybe it's a vision problem. Maybe she came to him in a vision. I don't know. But anyway, what's your thoughts here? I mean, hey, it's what, week 12?
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think it's as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback, right or wrong. I The way Jordan Love looked after taking over for Aaron Rodgers, it looked like a whole different, team, or at least quarterback. That's how bad Aaron Rodgers has been. So, but you just don't bitch a Hall of Famer if he's good enough to play. So it is what it is, unfortunately.
Hey, Joe Montana got benched. Come on, man.
Did he really?
Uh,
Against Steve Young, huh?
yeah. So I
Well,
mean
there you go. That's a good point.
I
That is
mean
a good point.
that's how Montana ended up with the Chiefs, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All right.
like, oh hell no, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So, uh, do you think that the Packers are going to pick up Love's fifth-year option?
I think they will tag him.
Because I mean, they still got to pay. Did Aaron do a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal?
I think it was 2+.
Was it 2+?
Yeah, let's see. Aaron Rodgers contract. I think it was more than more. I know it was more than one. 3 year, 150 million.
Yeah, 3. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you can't with the money that's owed him. It's going to take a team that's either a contender. I mean, or someone. Well, I don't think there's a contender that would have the money. But anyway, I mean, what do you think? Because it looks like they're between a rock and a hard place. They have Aaron for the next 2 years, but but let's just be real. Aaron's not going to play as long as Tom Brady.
No, he's already done. Yeah, there's no way that he plays. He might play next year, but I'm sure that they'll probably reconstructure his contract. That's probably the best bet that they can do. Both sides, because he's not. Yeah, he's not going to. He's pretty much done. He's done now, really.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to my, for the money that we've given up for Jordan Love, because they, I mean, they gave up their future to move up to get him. So I mean, you have to stick with him, and it also strangles you. You can't draft another quarterback. So as Bill says, salary cap, salary cap, salary cap.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you think that TB12 and the Bucks can recover from their overtime loss? Excuse me, to the Clowns.
Yeah, that was a bad one too. Yeah, I think as long as TB12 is there, they'll rebound in some form or way. If it was a more of a green quarterback, then I'd be probably more worried about that kind of situation. But he'll lead them on. They probably put this behind them already.
But do you think it's time for the Bucks to start rebuilding instead of trying to reload every year?
um, see, their running backs are okay. They're young. They have a young running back. Wide receivers are defense. Yeah, they should look at rebuilding.
I mean, you have the young kid White, but you still are paying a veteran in Fournette.
Yep, Mike Evans
Evan,
is a veteran.
Evans is getting up there a little bit. You know, you, how old is Brake?
He's an old veteran too. I don't
Yeah,
know exact age, but he's been around for quite a while.
yeah, and your offensive line, you're bringing older guys in that already have injury problems. So
Yep.
you know, uh, hey, should be interesting to see where they go. And they're another team that's up against the salary cap. You know. But then, we saw a lot of creativity from the Saints. So,
Yeah, you never
everything.
know. They can get out of it, then almost anybody can.
uh, did you see the Lamar tweet, the one that he deleted?
Yeah, I looked it up, but it didn't seem very. I don't know. Didn't so I feel like I missed something. What he said didn't seem too overly handed to me. It was something like "mind your own
Well,
business" or something to that effect.
and more or less, I have an extremity between my legs that you should think about, maybe massaging with.
What? No, I didn't see that at
Yeah,
all. Are you
yeah,
serious? No, I
yeah.
did not see
Oh
that.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
so that was what he deleted. Like mind your own business and more or less suck my
Yeah.
yeah
Whoa.
yeah.
Okay.
So, first of all, how bad a look was this for Lamar, considering that he is trying to get a new contract,
All right.
and number two, considering the criticism, do you think that Lamar should sign a long-term deal with the Ravens? And how much responsibility falls on the Ratbirds' defense for those recent losses?
Yeah, I think all those are really good points. I, it's I don't think it's going to affect him monetarily, but it's definitely not a good look. I'm sure that his team told him, "Hey, I know you're probably frustrated, which is why you lashed out like that, but that ain't cool. You gotta like put that in the rearview mirror and not do that again." Um, and then defense definitely has accountability, it's for sure. He has accountability. He's not been playing the greatest. So I think it's all around. He'll get a contract. It will be a very expensive contract, but it's probably not going to be as big as he wanted. Those first 3 games look like he was just going to get a Patrick Mahomes kind of type contract, but he hasn't really done much since those 3 games. So I
But now, and God, this is hurting my heart. You're making me defend the damn Ratbirds. Jesus. But I mean, okay. Both of his running backs have been out. He's
True.
down to Duvernay as his number one wide receiver. Mark Andrews is just now getting back, and he's not really in playing shape yet. So and like I said, to me, this defense hasn't necessarily been, like, playing lights out. I'm not sure where they rank among, the defenses, but this is not the usual Ravens defense that we're used to seeing.
No, no, right.
So, like I said, I mean, see, I got a nasty taste in my mouth. I'm defending Bradbury here. Jesus.
I know the feeling. It's not a good one.
uh, so what do you think? I mean, should he stay there for the long term? Do you think, is he open to, do you think he would be open to other suggestions, as long as they're a contender, or, hey, what did Versay gave him a call?
Oh, I'm sure he's going to get calls all over. Whoever needs one is going to definitely call Lamar Jackson, and he's going to play that market too, and he should. He really should play as much as he possibly can to drive up his price, and he will. And so, but I don't think it's going to be the contract of like a Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen when he signs his huge deal. It won't be that.
Well, he's asking for uh, Deshaun Watson money,
Yeah, then
guaranteed.
it's not going to be
Yeah,
that.
guaranteed. I mean, uh, they did come to him with 215 million, but there were, it wasn't it wasn't all guaranteed, and there were incentives, which I think is the best that he could hope for. Uh, you know, uh, I mean, the clowns are the clowns. That's a contract that should have never been signed. I mean,
No,
this is one time when perhaps the commissioner should have said, or the owner, like, that there should have been an owners meeting, and like, look, do you know what kind of precedent this is going to set? And here's what are they called? The chickens coming home to roost.
hmm.
So hey, um, the Jets decided that they were going to play Mike White,
Yeah.
and Mike White went 22 of 28, 315 passing yards, 3 TDs, and no picks.
Hmm.
Has Zach Wilson's mouth You remember those the press conference after that last loss,
Right.
uh, you know, and White's performance cost him his job.
Definitely. I think they're not looking at him right now by any means. And then they might not look at him for the rest of the season. They're going to have to make some kind of decisions about him. I mean, here is a guy that they picked number 2 overall, and he didn't work out last year, injuries and performance, and he hasn't worked out this year with injuries and performance. Um, I mean, he got a little bit better than he was last year, so that's good. But he's not putting up the numbers that some backup that was drafted. I don't even know when Mike White was drafted, maybe in the 5th round somewhere. Um, and so yeah, I don't see Zach Wilson being in the mentions of starting anytime soon.
After his did not practice designation last week, uh, the Jets running back James Robinson had some very harsh words. I didn't come here to play, but I mean, to sit on the bench. But is he already in Salim's hangar?
He might be because I don't know if I don't know why he was a healthy scratch last week. Um, he's but it's really an interesting situation with him because he's been really a very very good running back the first 2 years of it, and then he was doing some good things until Travis Etienne became who he was, and then they shipped him off for a 6th round pick and hasn't really done much. I don't know if he's just went downhill in a second or what the situation is with him, but it doesn't look good.
Is Michael Carter a scratch this week? I've seen him as questionable. I haven't seen him as out.
I don't know if he's out this week or not. I think he's still just questionable.
Okay. Um, are you concerned about the red zone turnovers becoming an issue for Josh Allen?
Yeah, he had quite a few. I don't know if he had any last night or not, but
No, last night he played a pretty decent game last night, but this was one of the questions that came out before last night's game, and last night they were playing the Patriots. So
yeah, but it has been troubling over the past few weeks that he hasn't really been able to contain that situation, and I don't know if he's just relying on his talent, and this game is maybe just easy to him, so he's just like, I can make any pass and I just throw it, and our offense is so good that we'll make it up if I make a mistake, or if he's just being careless, or what the situation can be. But there's obviously a problem there when he's had so many turnovers.
oh, wait, did you watch last night's game?
Sort of. I had it on as more of background noise than actual sit there and watched it.
Second quarter, I believe it was third and I want to say third and 12, and he runs the ball down to what was it, the 5, and tries to hurdle a defender.
Hmm.
So I mean, look, the guy's a football player. I understand that, and he's a big guy. But what's the old saying? The bigger the tree, the harder to fall, or whatever it is. I
Right.
mean,
Yep.
and it's clear that unlike Patrick Mahomes, he has not learned how to slide. You
No.
see, so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that desire to win and to get over the goal, I understand. Like how that comes into play, but when you're playing professional football, it's not like you're bigger than all the other guys out
We're right. Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you're not gonna always get the best of Aaron Donald.
No,
you
no.
know. So uh, 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 like I said, I'm thinking that at some maybe it takes that that one hit. You don't want to see it, but maybe it takes that one hit, to like kind of instill to you, like these other guys are pros too,
Yeah.
so. Um, let's talk about the Pats because the final score last night was 24-10, and the game really wasn't that close. They got 3 points like late in the fourth quarter. I forget, it was off something happened, but anyway, they were able to put another 3 points on the board. But uh, we talked about Zappy, and we talked about the Mac Jones. But do you think that the Pats, and I'm looking at what they did last night. Do you think that maybe they're a little too entrenched in the belief that Mac Jones is their long term solution?
I hope not. Mac Jones is to me, he's more of a backup than he is a starter. Someone that is going to be good in short amount of time, but you're not going to be able to count on him to drive the team down the field to win, football games at a high level. Someone that's going to win 10, 11, 12 games, during the season. He's just not that kind of quarterback. For him to have competition with a 6th round selection and Bailey Zappi is, is something should never even come to fruition. I mean, you have a 1st rounder and a 6th rounder. There's, and an early 1st rounder. It should not be a competition. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe in a year or two they actually look at another quarterback, and hopefully that's the answer. But I don't think Mac Jones is the answer for the Patriots.
Yeah, neither do I. The Vikings are 9-2, but Kirk Cousins is ranked number 23 in QBR.
Hmm.
Can the Vikings continue to be successful with an average to inconsistent play at quarterback?
During the regular season, yes. During the playoffs, no. Um, you can win in a variety of ways during the regular season, but if they're relying him, to win during a playoff game, there's going to be sooner or later they're going to have to. He's going to have to step up and be, something that's not the 23rd in QBR. So we'll see how that test comes about when the time comes. But if he finishes a QB 23, they're going to be out of the playoffs.
Well, even Mr. Scott predicted him to be one and done. So we'll see. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Porn went from being counted out to being counted on.
Yep.
Where do you think the Porn King will be suiting up next season?
Um, he might end up as a Colt next season.
Ah, okay.
Someone that is very accurate in the short to intermediate routes that the Colts like to run, and he doesn't have to throw long because that's not really the Colts' offensive system, and he can be that game manager that's needed for Jonathan Taylor. So I thought he might be a Colt this year, but I was very excited when Matt Ryan came to town until I actually saw Matt Ryan play, and that changed my mind really quick. But Jimmy Garoppolo won't have that issue that Matt Ryan does, just because he's much more younger.
Yeah, I should get some of those. What's the commercial that has the red flag where they throw it out? When they challenge some of the things that you
Oh,
see in
yeah, those
yeah,
are funny. Yes.
yeah, because I'd like to pull up some of your comments on Matt Ryan when he got there. It's like,
Yeah, right. Yeah. Let's look how excited Mike really was about this whole situation. I wasn't
uh,
excited. Oh, yes, we are. Let's go to replay.
Oh man. Let's see. Okay. On his All Things Covered podcast, ex-Cardinal teammate cornerback Patrick Peterson said that Kyler Murray doesn't care about nobody but Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray responded by saying that Patrick Peterson is on some weird shit. So, what does the eye test tell you about the 4-8 Cardinals?
I think the biggest problem is a miscommunication between and a constant miscommunication between Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. I don't think that Cliff Kingsbury should be a head coach. He loves to run these special kind of weird looking plays that don't work because he thinks he's some offensive guru genius, which he's not. I mean, it worked in the college ranks, but it doesn't work in the pros. And they're just, I think there's just infighting going on. They seem to always not really get along, um, even during the football game. So I think Kyler Murray, you can't just only care about yourself if you're a quarterback. It won't work. So he's done fairly well. I can tell you he loves DeAndre Hopkins because he targets DeAndre Hopkins, 50 times a game. So it's not all about him. So yeah, I don't think that Kyler Murray is all about Kyler Murray.
Okay. But he's a quarterback. He can't throw the ball to himself. I mean,
Right. Yeah. No, that's
yeah.
true. I don't know. Yeah, that would be interesting. He just tosses it to himself, and then we really know the answer. No, I don't think he's. I think he wants to win, and they're not winning, and so he's frustrated. And right there, that tells me he's about the team.
Okay. Uh, do you think that that there's possibly a generational difference here? Because Patrick Peterson is what 23, 24 years old, and Kyler Murray is like 24 years old. Patrick Peterson's close to 40, right?
Yeah,
Whole,
he's
whole,
definitely a
whole,
veteran. Yeah.
yeah, whole generational differences here about the way that the game is approached. I think.
I don't. Yeah, it could be, but I don't understand why Patrick Peterson would go out and say this.
Well, I guess that's the point because they were teammates, like I said.
Yeah,
So
back in
yeah,
Arizona. Yeah.
yeah. So it's is it a generational thing? Is he is he used to having one of those Brady type guys? That spends all his time in the playbook and hanging out with the fellows. And as we know, I mean, Kyler Murray. And I don't know a whole lot about the gaming world, but I mean, he has uh what do they call that? E-sport. They show it on TV sometime where they have the guys that form teams. I mean, he has a professional Call of Duty team.
Hmm.
He plays professional. He's got a team. And he plays. According to a lot of people, he plays daily. I guess you have to know his moniker, but
Hmm.
you know that's a lot of people say he's more into video games and what's happening after football than he
Wow.
is into football. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, you can check out. Yeah, he has his own gaming team, the whole 9 yards. So
I mean, I don't have a problem with that as long as it doesn't get involved in what he needs to do on the field. And if people are saying the things or those kind of things, it sounds like maybe it does get in the way of certain, maybe that was the reason why they had that stupid deal in the contract where he had to watch film. What was it, 3 hours a week or something to that
yeah,
effect?
yeah, three. It was 3 hours a day or something like that. Because rumor has it that he plays, the Call of Duty at least 8 to 10 hours a day. So
Hmm.
it's kind of hard to. I mean, if you got 4 hours of practice and 10 hours of call to duty and a few hours sleep, and then
Yeah,
you
where exactly are your priorities at?
yeah, yeah. The Seahawks are now on a 2-game losing streak. Is it more likely that the Seahawks will re-sign Geno Smith, or they'll pick up a quarterback late in the first round?
They'll probably. I don't think they'll draft a quarterback in the first round. They'll probably re-sign Geno Smith, but I don't think Geno Smith is going to be as good as he is this year. I think this is sort of a one-hit kind of situation for him. I could be wrong, but it just seems like that. Like gut instinct tells me that he's, we've seen this before, right? With different players where they come out of nowhere, they're great for a season, and then they go back to being nobodies the following year. So um, I think that's going to be the situation.
Okay. What's your prognosis for the Seahawks, and your projection for 2023? You and Bill keep up with the draft more than anybody, and that they seem to have drafted a lot of good young guys that are going to be able to play for a few years. Uh, are they someone to watch, or as you said, are they just a one-hit wonder with Geno?
Yeah, I think they're going to be one of those one-hit wonders. Their defense needs to get a little bit better. Defensive line, secondary is not the best, but their offense seems to be pretty steady, especially with Kenny Walker and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and maybe a tight end. Noah Fant doesn't seem like he's working out too well there. So they got some holes to fill there, but they can. I mean, if Geno Smith can just be average, this team is a playoff team or at least contender.
Okay, yeah, all right. Um, Here's NFL.com's top 10 power rankings. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Number one is the Eagles. Number two is the Chiefs. Number three, the 49ers. Number four, the Cowboys. Number five, the Bills. Number six, the Dolphins. Number seven, the Vikings. Number eight, the Bungles. Number nine, the Titans. And number 10, the Jets.
Wow. Um, I would have it in somewhat of a different order, but I would say the teams are. Yeah, I would say the teams are pretty much what I would have them as. Yeah, the teams. Yeah, I would say the 10 teams are there. I wouldn't probably change the teams, but the order I would change them in.
Okay. Um, any particular ones?
I would drop the Eagles less. I don't think they're. I mean, they're 10-1 or whatever, but um, the competition hasn't been that high for them. They're playing a pretty soft schedule. So, and then they barely beat the Colts, and I don't talking about one and done team. I can see them losing in the divisional round. I would put the Chiefs ahead of them, maybe even the 49ers ahead of them, possibly the Cowboys ahead of them. So I'd put the Eagles probably 4.
Okay.
And then the Bills would be a little bit higher. I think they're more around 2 or 3 range. Vikings a little bit higher. So yeah, just a little mixed match around, but I agree with the overall top 10.
Okay. Deshaun Watson is supposed to make his Clowns debut Sunday against his old team, the Texans. What would you consider to be a successful QBR against his old team?
Um, 80, 84, 85.
Okay. All right. Um, now I know he didn't, want to answer any non-football related questions, but what do you think it's going to be like? I'm sure there's going to be protesters there. Undoubtedly, I mean, returning to the scene of the crime, more or less. And even though the Texans aren't very good, do you think that maybe, there'll be a little extra incentive or, you know, uh, well, they've already uh, benched David Mills, right?
Yeah, they benched him last week.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know if that's a continuous thing, but I think so. I think he's benched this week too.
So do you think hearing the boos from the crowd is going to have any effect on him, considering that he's been out of football for almost 2 years, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think he's going to start off pretty shaky. They're going to run the ball a lot. He'll have a lot of short passes. And that should help him quite a bit. But the boos are going to definitely be out there, and there should be. I mean, I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of those boos coming out.
As I was saying, well, I think they're also 4-7. I believe they are.
Yeah, something
Uh,
like that. Yeah.
uh, what's a success? What is a successful season like for Deshaun? Let's see. What are they? They're 11 games, so they have basically 6 games left.
Yeah, because 17 weeks, right? So
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
yeah. Um, if are you talking about his record or overall record for
His
the
no,
Browns?
his record,
Oh, one second.
because he's only going to play 6 games. So I mean, you think he's going to be 3-3, 2-4, 1-5.
Um, I'm thinking 2-4.
2-4. Okay. And we'll talk about next season when it comes, or at least at the begin at as we get closer to the end of this one. So,
I'm hoping 0-6, though. I'm hoping 0-6.
okay, let's get to some predictions here. The spot last night was the Bills giving up 5.5, and they certainly covered that spot. So let's start with the Steelers getting 1.5 at the Falcons.
That's a tight game. I'm gonna go Falcons by 3.
Okay. The Punkers minus 2.5 at the Bears.
Um, uh, that's a close one. I think that yeah that seems like a push.
The Jaguars plus 1.5 at the Lions.
Ooh, Lions. I'm gonna go Lions by 4.
Uh, okay. The Jets uh, getting 3.5 at the Vikings.
I think that's a push as well.
Uh, well, it can't be a push because you got a hook. 3.5.
Uh, um, then let's go Vikings by 5.
Okay. The Commanders uh, getting 1.5 at the Giants.
Yeah, I don't like these 1.5 and stuff. There's a lot of 1.5 this week, aren't
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Jeez.
As I told Mr. Scott, there's no more pushes in Vegas. There's no more, 3 points, 10 point. No, no, no,
They're not.
no.
Jeez. I'm. That's too close a game for me for Giants. I think Giants win by 5.
Yeah, you want to push? Go buy you a wagon. I don't even know if they sell them anymore. Toys R Us, Macy's. Let's see. Uh, where were we? Okay. The Jets. Is that what I did? We leave? No, the Jets getting 3.5 at the Vikings.
hmm
Is that the one we left off on?
No, we left off on Commanders and Giants, so we're
Okay.
now on Titans and Eagles.
Well, yeah, Titans getting 5.5 at the Eagles.
Yeah, that's quite. See, I would go less on this one. I'm gonna go 3, and then I can push.
The Broncos getting 8.5 at the Ratbirds.
I don't see that. Not with the Broncos. That defense. I'm gonna go the under on this and go at least. I don't know. A magic number is 5 this week for me, I guess, because I could see 5. Yeah.
The Clowns giving the Texans 7.5 at home.
Yeah. See, this is to me is a higher score, just because the Houston is built to run, and I mean Cleveland's built to run. Houston's can't stop the run for anything. So Nick Chubb should have a great day. I can see this being like a 12-point. I'm gonna go over.
The Seahawks getting 4.5 at the Rams.
This
No,
also
excuse
could
me.
be a blowout.
The Seahawks giving the Rams 4.5.
Yeah, I think Seahawks win by a little bit more. I'm going to go 7.
Ooh, okay. And the Finns getting 3.5 at the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Fins in the points in this game.
Okay. The Chiefs giving the Bungles 3.5 at home.
Whew. Ooh. I think the Chiefs win in a late field goal, so I'm going to go take the under.
The Chargers giving 2.5 to the Raiders.
This should be another close game. I'm looking at like 3 to 5 points, so I think the Raiders are on a roll. I think Raiders win this.
Okay. Now, after we beat you guys last week, I had to. You couldn't be Colts anymore. You had to be. So you're the ponies now.
We're definitely the ponies. There's no doubt about it. Yes. Yeah,
So
for sure.
you're getting 9.5
Jeez.
from the Cowboys,
Oh,
and
it's probably
you're on the road.
Yeah, it's going to be worse. This is going to be over 9.5. This game is 2 touchdown difference.
And the Monday night game, the Saints getting 6.5. The Saints plus 6.5 at the Bucks.
Yeah. I'll say 6.5, 7. Sounds about right.
Okay, well, now we're down to the money. Here's why we pay you the big bucks. Okay, even though you were right, I'm still not gonna let you forget that Brian Robinson prediction there. But and it had just dawned on me that that's the kid that got shot, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Him.
yeah. Okay. Let's start with the starter and sit 'em. Jimmy Porn against the Finns.
I'd say bench him.
Trevor Lawrence against the Lions.
Start him.
Tua against the 49ers.
Start him.
Carr against the Chargers.
Sit him.
Deshaun Watson against the Texans.
Ooh. Start him.
Jared Goff against the Jaguars.
Sit him.
Tom Brady against the Saints.
Start him.
Andy Dalton against the Bucks.
Sit him.
Russell Wilson against the Ratbirds.
Sit him.
Geno Smith against the Rams.
Start him.
Taylor Heineke against the Giants.
Sit him.
Mike White against the Vikings.
Yeah, start him.
I don't know. I hope that wasn't the X-Lax there. It's like,
So close.
okay, let's see. Some running backs. Aaron Jones against the Bears.
Start him.
David Montgomery against the Packers.
Yeah, start him.
Damian Pierce against the Clowns.
I'm gonna say sit him, but barely.
Jeff Wilson against the 49ers.
Start him.
Contrell Patterson against my Steelers.
Sit him.
Pacheco against the Bungles.
Yeah, I'd sit him too.
We haven't found out his status yet, but I'm thinking Mike Carter against the Vikings.
Yeah, I'd sit him too.
Brian Robinson against the Giants.
I'd sit him.
Miles Sanders against the Titans.
I'd start him.
Gus Edwards against the Broncos.
Sit him.
Rochelle White against the Saints.
You're gonna want to start him. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Wide receivers. Chase Claypool against the Punkers.
Yeah, you want to sit him.
Peoples Jones against the Texans.
Yeah, I could see him. We'll see what Deshaun Watson does with him, but I'd say go for it.
Cortland Sutton against the Ratbirds.
No, not that Denver offense. No.
Yeah, but that goddamn Ratbird secondary, man.
Yeah, that secondary not good at all. Yeah.
It's just, throw it out, run up under there.
Pretty much.
Matt Hollins against the Chargers.
I'd say sit him.
Tyler Lockett against the Rams.
Start.
Valdez Scantling against the Bungles.
You're gonna want to sit him.
Demarcus Robinson against the Broncos.
Definitely sit.
McLaren against the Giants.
He can make an interesting start. So yeah, let's go ahead and start him.
Devontae Johnson against the Falcons.
No, not this year for whatever reasons. He still hasn't even caught a touchdown this year. This is so surprising. Yeah, you're gonna want to sit him.
Now, I'm a Steelers fan, and I will admit that I jumped at the opportunity to grab him in a lot of drafts. But since week 7, and I'll say at least since week 8, I've found it a lot easier to drop him because, like you said, our quarterback is unstable. He hasn't caught a touchdown pass this year, and even though he's still ranked up there, among wide receivers, I just don't find him viable as a fantasy option.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's been like a wide receiver 45, 50 for most of the season. So and he's getting the volume. He's just not converting into very high yardage and not scoring touchdowns. So it's just not working.
Van Jefferson against the Seahawks.
Sit him.
Julio Jones against the Saints.
I can't believe this guy's still playing. Jeez. Yeah, I'd sit him too.
Well, now Mike Evans hasn't been that consistent. Godwin's been the most consistent when Julio Jones has suited up. So, are you saying that the only viable fantasy wide receiver for the Bucks is Godwin?
I'd say more Evans, but yeah,
Evans on paper, but doesn't Godwin have the most fantasy value? I'm not sure about the stats there.
yeah. Well, Evans has played like more games. Godwin right now, I don't know where Godwin is right now. I'd have to look it up, but let's see. Godwin. Godwin is the wide receiver 27, 14 and a half points per game he's averaging. And Evans is, well, you're right, actually. Evans is 21, but he's averaging 13.9 points per game. So, yeah, they're right. They're neck to neck, but Godwin's averaging more points per game than Evans.
Yeah, and that's when that's when Tom has a good game. Right now, I mean, I'm not sure where they're going to end up. I mean, they could end up winning uh, the division because once again, I think this is another division where we're only going to get one team out of, and it's going to seems like it's going to be either the Saints or the Bucks. So we'll have to see.
Agreed.
Well, wouldn't that be something? The redhead, the Red Rider making another playoff?
And they were just to bounce out in the first game of the playoffs. Yeah.
Let's see. A few tight ends here. Will Disley against the
Yeah,
Rams.
you could sit Will Disley.
Tyson Hill against the Bucks.
He makes a fun play, but yeah, I'd probably sit him as well.
See, the thing about the tight end position is if you don't have Kelsey or even now Kettle. I mean, other than Kelsey, there's. Can you tell me who's getting points at the tight end position?
Yeah, well, Goddard is hurt. Mark Andrews.
Yeah, that's right. All the good. Andrews is just getting back. Like you said, Goddard is hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
you're just getting the Joku's just getting back.
Right.
And he
Yeah.
might be gone again. I'm not sure what his designation is this week. So I mean, usually, the last couple of years, I mean, Tunyon has been consistent. He hasn't been overboard, but I mean, I don't see any consistency here. I mean, okay, as I go on, Austin Hooper against the Eagles.
Yeah, that's another one. Maybe, right? Who knows? But I would sit him. I don't even know if he's actually even starting at this point.
Tunyon against the Bears.
Maybe. Because Tanyan he's getting a lot more looks than he did last year, so I think you could probably start him.
Yeah, but he's not getting as many touchdowns as he got last year.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
he's getting more looks, but he's not getting as many TDs. He, you can count on him.
Yeah, not even close. I mean, when 2 years ago he got what, like 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. Yeah, I don't even know what he has now. I think 1 or 2.
I think does he have 2?
Let's see. Tanyan 1
Yeah, I
touchdown.
was gonna say I don't think he had 2. It's like um, Foster Moreau against the Chargers.
Yeah, I like that. I'd go with Foster Moreau.
Okay. Dulcich,
No, not Dulcich. No,
Cameron Brate,
no.
Stoll,
Um, that's a tough one. No, I'm gonna say no.
Brock Wright.
Against the Jags, that's not bad. But they use multiple tight ends, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah. See, I mean, what did we get? 2 starters out of you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost a wasteland. Tight ends are such a wasteland.
Yeah, I mean, right now kickers are scoring more points than tight ends.
Right?
Yeah. Uh, all right, man. So I'm out here. I'm kind of stranded. I got some guys, that are rather questionable coming back. I know you're going to start Jamar Chase. You're going to start Keenan Allen. You're going to start Mike Williams. But who am I looking for here on the waiver wire? Who should I be thinking to pick up here?
Yeah, maybe Bam Knight from the Jets. He looked pretty good, and one of the reasons why um James Robinson is probably not playing. Um, I kind of like him at the running back position. Who else could be? Rashad White, if he's not picked up already. Pacheco is another one at the running back position. Jamison Williams is coming off an ACL, but he's a rookie and he's fantastic. So I don't know what his role will be, but he could be very explosive for the Lions. And then we talked about Foster Moreau. I really like Foster Moreau. He should get a lot of volume at tight end, and at quarterback, we're going to go with Mike White.
What about this kid here? Let me see. Where is he from? Uh, Kendall Hinton.
Oh, for Denver.
Yeah.
He's interesting, but I just don't think he gets enough volume. And then that Broncos offense is not great. So yeah, I'd say no, just because if they were just good, or at least better than almost mediocre, then yeah. But they're way below mediocre for an offense. It's just not enough scoring.
And what did you think about this Melvin Gordon move to the Chiefs?
Yeah, that was interesting. I like it. I think they're obviously. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be like a Le'Veon Bell move, where last year Bell moved to the Chiefs and they used him, or if they're really planning on using him. He's not washed as much as Le'Veon Bell was, but it they have a lot of they have Pacheco there, they have Ronald Jones there, they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out, so they have a lot of running backs there that they could use. But we'll see what they actually do with them.
Is Marcel a long-term scratch, or do you think we're going to see him back in time for the playoffs?
Who's this?
Uh, McCole?
Oh, McCole Hardman.
Yes.
Um, I Yeah, I think he'll probably come back. I don't know what his. I think he's on the IR right now. So
Yeah, he is on the IR right now. I have him on the IR. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, I think
But I'm wondering whether I should drop him and pick up like a Curtis Samuels or you know.
How deep is your bench? Is it pretty deep or?
Well, I mean, it would have to be. eh, Well, the thing of it is, I'm stuck between one of those rock and hard places when it comes to Chiefs wide receivers,
Mhm.
because there is no number one designated wide receiver other than Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, Juju's doing all right.
Yeah,
But
I mean, he's doing all right, but like I said, there's nobody you can put up there, that you can put out there and say, okay, it's kind of like dependent upon Devin Singletary every week.
right, no, I hear you. I wouldn't drop. Yeah, I'd drop him for Curtis Samuel.
or in some cases, you have other guys available. I was trying to think of a few. I was trying to see if I had a few here that I could bring up in the meantime. Uh, Let me see. Uh, yeah, like um, this week, they're saying that I should pick up Jerick McKinnon and drop Michael Carter. But like I said, I don't know whether Michael Carter is out or whether he's just questionable. And then, is McKinnon a viable replacement? Because Mahomes, let's face it, passes the damn ball around. If it's not Kelsey, it could be any goddamn body.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't. It's one and the same. Michael Carter and Jarek McKinnon. Um, so you might as well just keep what you have.
Will Stafford be back for the Rams this year?
I'm gonna say no. Uh, he's been awful, and then now he's injured, and the Rams are awful. It's not like they're going to be playing for anything, so there's no reason for him to come back. To risk more injuries. So I think they'll shut him down.
Um, Aaron McDonald. I mean, Aaron Donald has missed his first game in God. I don't know. I can't remember the last time he's missed a game. Do you think that there's a possibility that they're also shutting him down for the rest of the season?
It's possible. For the same reasons, he misses a couple of weeks. He misses, say, 4 weeks or something to that effect. I could see them shutting him down for sure.
And I mean, and they don't want him to leave.
Right. Oh
That's
yeah. You
another
don't
thing.
you don't want to lose Aaron Donald. There's no
Right,
doubt about that.
right, right. Hey, man, good talking a little football with you this weekend. I made sure we're on the recording button so you can upload it this week. And I'm trying to get our holiday schedule somewhat arranged here,
Okay.
because I know, let's see, well, Christmas is on a Sunday. Uh, but now it's the 2 days that I'm concerned about are the 23rd and the 30th.
Okay. The Yeah. I'd have to get back to you. Let me get back to you on those 2 days.
Okay, no problem. Better than me waiting until the 22nd and asking. So.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely get back to you prior to that for sure.
All right, man. Well, hey, give us your final thoughts. Tell everybody where they can find you, and as always, good show, man.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to hanging out with you next Friday.
Yes, sir. Me too. Yeah. And my final thoughts: go United States, World Cup soccer. Hopefully, they do what they need to do tomorrow morning. If not,
Yeah.
it's been one hell of a run.
Well, who are they playing?
I want to say Denmark.
I know it's one of those teams there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's Denmark. I believe. I don't know why I don't know off the top of my head. Let's see. I know. Let's see. Playoff bracket.
They're
Netherlands. That's what they're
the
playing.
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah. They're around the 16, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
They made it out of their group, which 1-0 win over Iran. Um, so it'll be a tough game, but it's a game they can win. So good luck to them. And then I as as you mentioned, I feel the same way. Always glad to do these shows with you on Friday, and hope everybody has a great weekend and wins their week and has a great fantasy week.
All right, man. Well, hey, you have a great weekend. Look forward to talking to you next week. And as always, I hope everyone's family and had a very happy holidays. And you know, uh, be safe.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right. Have a good night. Well, make sure you get your fantasy picks on. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. And as I said, you can go to YouTube and hit our like and subscribe button. Our Cash App button is $JE King 3. And we hope that you will tune in and listen to us again next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.